The following presentation is an exclusive interview with the world-renowned founders of the International Centers for Attitudinal Healing, Dr. Jerry Jampolsky and Dr. Diane Cirincione. Together they have taken the concept of attitudinal healing to over 50 countries and have inspired the creation of over 100 centers for attitudinal healing around the world. Do you want to find happiness through a new approach to life, to change negative patterns into positive ones, and to turn your world into a joyous experience? Let's explore with Dr. Jampolsky and Dr. Cirincione, as interviewed by me, Dr. Terry Shintani, on Hawaii's longest-running health show, Healing and You. These lessons can help you experience life as fully and as peacefully as it can be, starting right now. Welcome everyone to Healing and You. I'm Dr. Shintani, and I want to welcome you to this show. Tonight we have a very, very special program for you. We have two members of our faculty at the John A. Burns School of Medicine's Department of Complementary Alternative Medicine, and we're very proud to have these two distinguished faculty members. They are Dr. Jerry Jampolsky and Dr. Diane Cirincione. Dr. Jampolsky, Dr. Cirincione, thank you for being with us this evening.
Our pleasure.
Thank you.
Just by way of introduction, Dr. Jerry Jampolsky is the founder of Attitudinal Healing. He's a Stanford-trained psychiatrist. He has won numerous awards, including the AMA, the American Medical Association's Pride in Profession Award. It's actually a national award, so we're very proud to have him as one of our faculty members. Dr. Diane Cirincione, Executive Director of Attitudinal Healing International. She's a clinical psychologist, and she's actually practiced in Hawaii. Together they've written numerous books, and some of them are Love is Letting Go of Fear, A Mini Course for Life, Teach Only Love, Love is Letting Go of Fear, and numerous titles that you can find on the internet or at Amazon about the whole concept of attitudinal healing. And together they founded over 100 centers for attitudinal healing around the world and have lectured in 54 or 50 plus countries. They have an imposing resume of work that they've done. And several years ago at the World Health Awards, together they won the Integrative Medicine Award. So welcome, Dr. Jampolsky, Dr. Cirincione.
Thank you. Dr. Shintani, it's our pleasure to be here again. Thank you.
For tonight's topic is letting go of the illusion of separation. And it's a very interesting topic, and it's actually applicable to many people in terms of dealing with illness, dealing with loss or grief, and dealing with challenging relationships. Now, can you tell me why you picked this interesting topic, letting go of the illusion of separation, for this show?
Well, as you mentioned, regardless of what we're dealing with in life, things look like they're so separate. Dealing with illness, the loss of a child, the loss of a spouse, the loss of a friend, our challenging relationships, whether they're business or personal, that looks very different than illness. Financial difficulties, losing our jobs. But there is something very common that underlies all of the fear around these situations, and that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And under each one of these is a specific fear. If your child or someone you love is life threatened, the fear is the fear of separation from that person. If you are financially strapped or you're losing your job, fear of separation from your lifestyle, from the financial security that you normally have. Okay. No matter what the area is in our life, there is a sense of being separated from something or someone. And we're going to talk tonight about how this idea of separation permeates our thinking. And it comes out in the form of loss, comes out in the form of grief. And whether it's the separation we fear from something or someone, or ultimately the separation we feel from ourselves, our higher selves, our inner selves, our natural selves, and how that projects out. So how can we deal with that in relationship to loss and grief and illness, etc.?
So you're saying the fundamental common element is the fear that is generated from this illusion of being separated from something that we
Exactly.
are accustomed to.
Up to and including our own death. We think it's the fear of death,
No,
but what is
boy,
the fear
that's
of
a whole
death? But
nother-
it's the fear of being separate from this life, or from our bodies, going into an unknown. So yes, it's gigantic.
It cuts across many areas of our lives.
Exactly, and it's one that we hardly ever talk about. So there's a lot of denial around it. So we try to make it really simple in the sense of how can I identify this in my own life, and then what can I do about shifting my attitude about how I deal with these things, so that I can actually enjoy living before I die.
That's great. That's wonderful. Dr. Jampolsky?
So it's really our belief that our true identity is just a body born to sooner or later to die, sooner or later to be rejected, sooner or later to be sick. And as long as we hold on to that kind of identity and feel that's our only identity and continue that fear, we end up with controlling problems. We try to control everything in our lives and find out that we're not very successful at controlling other people. And attitudinal healing is really based on the premise that it's not people or other things that cause us to be upset. It's not our bodies that really cause us to be upset. It's the attitudes and thoughts in our mind that cause us to be upset. And if you think about it for a moment, that if we stopped making judgments, stopped condemning ourselves, having grievances with other people, can you imagine how peaceful we would feel and how much more joy and feeling and experience oneness? It's my feeling that the more that we can see other people as a Siamese spiritual twin of ourselves, that when we get upset with another people, really you're hurting ourselves, not other people. So what we'd like to talk about tonight is suggesting that we might take another look at what this is all about. I was born in a family that were very fearful of dying, and I picked up that fear for a long time.
Well, who isn't afraid of dying, right? That's a very general, common. I mean, that's almost programmed into us from our birth.
Yes, but Terry, a lot of people deny that, and they're not consciously aware of that fear, and yet it plays a big part in their own behavior. So in my adulthood, I became an alcoholic, and I was afraid to die, and yet I was killing myself with alcohol. And if I had continued, I would have died from alcoholism. So we have kind of crazy mixed up minds that are based on fear. That's all based on this identity that we're a body. Now, in attitudinal healing, the first principle that we have there is the essence of our being is love. And for me, that means we're spiritual beings, that we can choose to be a spiritual being. See, that is our identity rather than a body. The first meditation we do in the morning that Diane and I do is, want to share that, Diane?
Well, it's this little statement that says, I'm actually not a body. I'm not just a body, that I'm free. And I'm still as God created me. And today I want the peace of God. The peace of God is everything I want. And it's the aim of all my living here, the end I seek. And it's my purpose, my function in my life. And that basically sets you right, whether it's God, nature, whatever one believes. One doesn't even have to be faith-based to relate with that. That we set the goal, the rudder in the boat, as Jerry often says, to have peace of mind as our goal that day. That, instead of all the other goals that we set up, it doesn't mean passive. It means that everything else is our intentionality of what we do, but that at a core level, to be peaceful, we have a harmony, integrity in what we think, what we say, and what we do.
So to reiterate, if rather than making the goal a certain kind of outcome for the day, or which could go your way and could go the other way, which may create stress and distress, if the goal is peace, then you can be peaceful no matter what the outcome is.
Exactly. That's a very succinct way of saying it, and not to be interpreted with not putting in a lot of effort, because Jerry and I, we accomplish a tremendous amount of things in our lives, but the difference is that how peaceful do I want to be in the process? And if you're only rigidly held to one belief of this is all I want to do today, well, yeah, you might do that, but you might miss something else. But if you hold open the possibilities, we believe there are more resources in the universe to help us than only our own will. So we we try to open up the space for everything to help.
You know, what you both just said just reminded me of a very ancient saying. I don't know if you're even aware of it, but it's in the one of the most ancient books, the Bhagavad Gita. And it goes, be ever the same in gain or loss, in victory or defeat, in pleasure and pain, but ever be prepared. And it's like you're saying the same thing in today's
Yes.
common language, so that you can bring that ancient wisdom into modern practice. It's actually wonderful.
I think that's what attitudinal healing is about, and the 12 principles of attitudinal healing. It's all about taking universal principles and applying them to everyday practical life.